It's been a while, but we are back with Roll to Hit Gaming Monthly, and due to some professional obligations, we missed February, so we're going to combine February and March into this one episode. So we'll look back at February and March of 2018.
And some exciting news, the time has come for the Purge.
Yes, the Purge. Sometimes life kicks you in the face, but we're back. For Roll to Hit Gaming, I'm Chip.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Lucas. For the last couple months, I've been in a strange land far away, but Chip and Joe have put some great videos up on the channel that they're going to talk about now.
I did an unboxing of Scott Alm's new Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea from Gamelin Games. They're not so tiny anymore. This is a huge box, actually two big boxes. The core box, and then an equal-sized box for the 5 and 6 player expansions, and then a load of other extras that we got thanks to Roll to Hit Brandon. So check that out on the channel. Now, what I understand about Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, it supposedly it plays a little bit like the old Warcraft game, not World of Warcraft, but the old Warcraft kind of real-time strategy, sending your armies over to battle while trying to build up your little area. I don't know. We'll see. We'll crack into it and get a playthrough going. But yeah, so kind of excited about that. But we at least got the unboxing out for you.
We also did a small game update, and this was with The Fox in the Forest by Renegade Games. It's trick-taking, but with a twist. Great art. The gameplay is fast, and it's got a really cool scoring mechanism that really makes it unique. So check out that as well.
And I'm told we're adorable.
And we're adorable.
To recap some of the games that we played this month and in the month of February, for me, my favorite was going to be Empires of the Void 2. You guys had, it was a Kickstarter game, right? You backed it, finally delivered. This is Ryan Lockett, and I'm a pretty big fan of his games. He hit it out of the park with this game. This game was so cool. Some people try to say that it's a 4X, but it's missing an X to me because you can't exterminate people. There's a couple of very rare times in the game where an event might be able to kill one of your units. But on a whole, if two players fight or if a player fights an indigenous clan of people, you're just going to retreat. You're not going to be destroyed. So I like that because, taking somebody out of action completely, especially in games that can run long, sometimes I worry about that kind of stuff. If it happens early, they're going to sit around for hours. It's no fun for them. But this game is really cool. Space exploration. It's got big planets that are going to have events happening on it. It's got little small uninhabited planets where you're going to discover new abilities from exploration tokens and stuff. You can pick up and deliver. You can work diplomacy and try to gain influence to become allies. Or you can just go in and take them over militarily. And you're getting points all over the place. One nitpick I'd have with it is there are only 50 spots on the victory point track, and it seemed to us like we did a few laps on that thing.
We did.
But that's cool. I mean, you have enough markers where we were easily able to just leave a marker at the 50 to know that we're going back through it and things like that. But had a great time playing, and want to play it with more players. We played with 3, had a great time. The board will it'll scale based on number of players. There's certain things you put out that kind of close off access to the other planets, but it just worked. Everything just worked, and I'm ready to play it again. For me, I played a good number of Ryan Lockett games. Right now, I think that City of Iron is still my number one, just because I like the economic thing. But I'm telling you, Empires of the Void 2 is a strong contender and might dethrone it if I get another few plays in. So really like this game.
Another thing, though, don't be intimidated by the rule book. It does. The very first game you play, it takes a while to set up, and that's just because it's so detailed. But once you figure out what he's doing, it's real fast the second time you play the game to set it all up and get going. It's just that first initial. Don't let that scare you.
Yeah. And it works off the follow mechanic.
Yep.
So you're going to pick an action, and then we all get to choose whether we want to take the same action or pay a few points to take another action that we want to take. So really simple rule set, but really deep game.
As I understand it, this is basically a remake of one of his very early games, and they're not that similar. So if you have Empires of the Void, you may check this out to see how different it is. But I didn't get a chance to play this, and I was curious because lately, first of all, I backed it because of the way it looks. It's just gorgeous to me. But lately, Ryan Lockett has really been hitting the storytelling aspect in his games hard with Above and Below, Near and Far. Does this one have that same storytelling, or is it more Euro?
It's
style?
more Euro, but there is story involved.
Okay.
Each planet will have an event card that'll come up at some point, and there'll be some kind of special thing going on there at that planet.
So it gives you fluff
Yeah.
to kind of push the story
But
along.
as far as like Near and Far and Above and Below level of story, it's not there.
it's more objectives.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
trying to fulfill those objectives.
I'm excited to give it a try.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for my game of the month, I actually played several for February and March, and I didn't have any lows. But the one that really stuck out for me was a game that I've been anticipating for a while, and I really, really wanted it, and that was Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, another one by Avalon Hill. Basically, this game is a choose-your-own-adventure type thing. There's 50 different scenarios, and you're basically exploring. And there's also a potential traitor, which always makes it exciting too. But you're gaining loot and magical items as you're exploring. You may trigger an omen, which progresses the exploration story. But as you gain those omens, then you reach a certain point to where you go to the book, and now here's the climax, the end, right? The haunt. It's really fun, real exciting. It's cooperative play until a traitor's revealed, and then you're still working together to either defeat them because each one has a victory condition. So I really, really enjoyed it. It was just an epic game for me. I haven't found a scenario that's been broken yet, like in the previous rendition, which was
Betrayal at House
on the Hill. But so far, I really love the D&D theme, and so this in that setting is just perfect for me.
Yeah. And some of the mixed reviews I've heard of the old game, Betrayal at House on the Hill, is that you could get stuck in the basement. There was no way to get back up. In this game, they solved that by putting in the staircases. I really did enjoy it. I was the traitor in our game, and it should have read my magic item because I got greedy and I actually killed myself and let them win. But I really liked it. I think we got kind of lucky in the first scenario that we had. You randomly generate this scenario based on the position you're in when the final omen comes up that makes you roll over the omen track and all that. So we got lucky. We had a hidden traitor scenario, and that kind of worked because we were sort of worried that none of us had experience with the game, and we were like, okay, well, somebody is going to be the traitor, and they're going to have to take a book and go off in private and learn new rules and everything. We were concerned about that. So in our first playthrough, we just got lucky and we didn't have to do that because it was a hidden traitor. Everybody at the table knew what was going on, and we could all kind of work the same way. And as I said, if I wouldn't have gotten greedy, maybe we could have gone a little longer. But
you did have us going, though. You didn't think you were the traitor.
I really got out of a sticky situation. They thought it was me, and then they weren't thinking it was me. And so, and then
he proclaimed himself as the traitor.
Yeah, then I said, "Oh, it's me." And by the way, I'm going to kill myself. So, but I had a great time, and I'd like to play it again.
Definitely.
I actually thought it went better than I expected it to.
Yeah, me too.
The stuff that I had heard about House on Haunted Hill or whatever it was called really put me off on it. Our adventure went pretty good. It didn't blow my socks off, but Brandon made a comment after we were done playing that normally when he likes a game, he then complains because that game doesn't have some kind of campaign mode, but he didn't think it needed it in this one. And I agree with that. I like that one-off
story,
just encounter situation. I had fun. I'm just looking to see, I think, some of the other haunts and
what
they can throw at us.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it was probably a good one for us to start with, but it was a little generic. So.
Yeah, and I think now that we've all got kind of the feel of the game, we're going to be comfortable with saying, okay, I'm the trader, I got to go learn this stuff, and then, come back. So looking forward to it.
My off-the-shelf highlight for the last couple months is going to be Chimera Station from Tasty Minstrel Games. I saw this thing on Kickstarter last year or the year before, and for whatever reason, even though it had metal coins, and everybody knows that's my weakness, I ended up passing on the game. I didn't back it. I wonder if it's because your worker meeples are kind of these crazy little alien things, and it was a little too cartoony. I don't really like that cartoony art style. I don't know if that was the reason, but for whatever reason I didn't. But while we were at BGG-Con last year, they just had, over at the Tasty Minstrel booth, they had box after box after box for a fair price for the Kickstarter version of it. So I went ahead and picked it up, and we finally got it on the table, and I loved it. It is it's a worker placement game, in a pretty pure sense, but it's going to be so vastly different every time you play because you're basically building and upgrading this space station with your workers, and there's a big tile of different locations that you can build, which then become the worker placement spaces that your workers can go to and do various things. So that's going to change your game up and force you to have different strategies every time you play. And your meeples are these heavy plastic, these goofy-looking aliens, and there are 3 different upgrades that they can get. And those add capabilities to your workers. And that was what really intrigued me. And that's what really came through, because I could make this worker really good at doing this, or really efficient at gaining this kind of resource, or whatever it was. I had a great time. We only played it at 2. I want to get out, 4 or 5 or how many will play and try it at that count, because that's just going to make the station get bigger and increase the possibilities. But right now, after 1 play, I couldn't recommend Chimera Station anymore.
What was really cool is that not only are you modifying the ship, you're modifying the workers. If you have something on it that's giving you a boon, like it feeds the worker for free or whatever, and you decide, okay, I need this to do something else, you can go and modify your worker, take that piece off and add a different one. So you're not stuck with what, like at the very beginning of the game, you think, I need to do this. And then later you're like, oh no, I don't have a worker that can do this. You can change your workers.
Yeah, it's really heavy plastic too. So if you do have it and haven't played it, or you pick it up, you got to kind of mash them together. Don't be afraid. Put a little oomph into it and they'll snap together.
This is going to sound really weird because I'm such a big miniature game player. I think the one thing that I passed the Kickstarter was because the meeples were very toyish to me.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
And they reminded me of that old game Cootie, which, I mean, they call it a game, but I think it was just a toy, right? But that's kind of what I thought. I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad to hear from you guys that there is a game there, and I'm interested in playing it.
When we were done playing it, the very first thing came out of my mouth after we were done was Chip is going to love this game. Cool. So, it had your name.
Well, I'll play Cooties with you. It's fine. Cootie Station.
Oh my.
So those are games we loved for the past couple months.
Behind us here in the Roll to Hit Gaming studio, there's a far more than what you can see wall of games. And then downstairs we have our Shelf of Shame, which if you're a longtime viewer, you're familiar with that whole deal. And I don't say this braggingly. I actually, in reverse, I've come to the realization that this thing has gotten out of hand. We have far too many games, and far too many come in the door and then just die here. So, we've got so many that we couldn't possibly play them in the next 5 years. And the way I figured, if we're not going to bother to play a game in 5 years, then why the heck do we have it? So it's time to initiate a purge, and I think Chip has a pretty good idea about how we do this.
It's a good problem to have.
It is. First world trouble.
First world problem. All right, so I mean, we're Thunderdoming this. We're gonna take games off the shelf, guys.
Yep.
We're gonna pit them against each other, and you know what? If we don't love them, they gotta go. But our loss is going to be the viewer's gain. We've decided that for this year, we're going to go through the purge. Like Lucas said, last year we were following the Shelf of Shame, trying to cut that down to under 100 games that we haven't played.
And it's back
back up now.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do with this is basically we're going to put those together, and whatever games are leaving the house, we've decided we're going to give them to you guys. So if you are in the continental United States, we will be glad to pay the shipping to you. And as they come up, we're going to make this a series. So keep a watch on the channel. Please subscribe if you're not already. And as these videos come along, we will be putting the games up against each other and voting some off the island. And when they get voted off the island, you guys will have an opportunity to email us for entry into the contest for that game. I don't know if we can officially call it a contest. I don't know if YouTube will get mad at us. But we're going to have a drawing.
Yes.
And if your name is drawn, we will send that game to you. So if you're outside the continental United States and you want to participate, I mean,
we'll work with you.
We'll work with you, but we may have to ask for assistance with the shipping depending on where that box is going. But continental United States will take care of it. Don't worry about it. Like Lucas said, we just got so many here, and we talked about it, right? How many Asian-inspired worker placement games
does a person
do we need?
Yeah. And we've got some cool ideas. We've been bouncing around how we want to do this, and we're kind of gonna do a game show format. Maybe with some kind of everybody risks something, and then there's some saves or whatnot, and at the end of the episode, one has to go, right? So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be
painful.
Painful, yes.
But I said to them before we started recording, you're going to have to give up some games you like because we need to love it to keep it.
Yeah.
Because we have limited space here, and I think that space needs to be our deciding factor on whether we add something to our collection or not. Because like I said, if we're not going to play it in the next 5 years, why are we holding on to it?
Yeah.
And we're not going to stop buying. So.
No. We haven't stopped.
We haven't.
We haven't. So. We are junkies. So anyway, that's what's coming up for the Purge. I think is what we're going to call it. And so for the next 12 hours, all board games are at risk. I'm sure Lucas can cut something in.
That's a little crazy.
But anyway, so that's what's on the future for us. We got anything else? I think that's it. Thank you. And again, we're sorry for the delay. The month, like I said, sometimes life just kicks you in the teeth. But we're back, and we're glad to have you. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And for Roll to Hit Gaming, I'm Chip.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Lucas.
See you next time.